I, 34M, think my neighbor is trying to sleep with me while my wife, 32F, is out of town. Firstly, I have told my wife what's happening since day one. Let me make that clear. So my 34M wife, 32F, is out of town for a few weeks. We're healthy. We're happy. Our relationship is great. A few days after my wife leaves, I'm taking a smoking outside my apartment complex and I'm approached by a woman. Don't know her age. She asks if I live in the building and I say yeah, and she said she's seen me around and was wondering. We've been there less than a year and she said she's just moved in and she asks how I like the place. I immediately mention my wife and I moved in about a year ago too. It turns out she came from the same city we just moved from and she works in the same industry as us. I keep mentioning my wife. She is my world. And she asks if she's inside and I said nah, she's out of town for a bit. I know, wait for it. And she keeps saying she's never seen her around or me with anyone and asks what she looks like, and I show her a photo and her response is, she's pretty. Eventually the neighbor asks for some help with some work in our field and I said sure she can message me for advice and we exchanged numbers. Yes, I'm getting there. I tell her I need to call my wife so I'm heading back in. And as we're saying goodbye she offhand asks me if I know any single people in the area and if I could help her out, and I told her no. And thought that was weird. Now, flirting has always gone over my head. Even my wife took several tries to get my attention when we were courting. And it was after I got back inside I realized I gave my number to a woman who was flirting with me. So when my wife called me I told her the entire story. She laughed because she knows I'm a dummy and wouldn't do anything. She said it seemed harmless and I've told her I'm married so she'll probably back off. Plus, both my wife and I get flirted with all the time. We are an attractive couple. So it's common for us to get flirted with despite the wedding rings. But neither of us would ever do anything. So it's been about a week and my neighbor keeps messaging me at night, asking what I'm doing, talking about how much she misses home, yada yada, asking how my girlfriend is doing. Yep, not wife, girlfriend. I either don't respond at all, or I've just messaged a single line like you should go out to this place and meet people for work and networking or something like that. Never setting up anything with me. Always saying I'm on the phone with my wife, even if I'm not, and keeping it strictly business. The other night she was really spamming me with messages. Again, how is your girlfriend? Which I ignored. And then eventually asked me if I had time to talk tonight. And before she had a chance to call, because absolutely I expected her to try to call me, I told her no, I'm waiting for my wife to call. And she responds with something like, right, your woman comes first, and I have just ignored her since then. My wife called that night, and I told her how this is getting out of hand and am I crazy or is she really trying to sleep with me? And my wife agreed that is exactly what she is doing. I'm a tall, good-looking guy in good shape, and I'm currently sitting at home alone. My wife said she's trying to get into our bed while she is away. I told her that isn't happening and I'm going to block this neighbor, and we agreed this wasn't harmless. Now it's awkward because this isn't a big complex, and I know I'll run into her. She doesn't know what apartment I'm in. Thank goodness. And I'm going to block her number, and I don't know how to handle this if I bump into her because she seems clingy and she doesn't seem to care. She knows I'm married. All I do is talk about my wife. I've dismissed anything she asks me that is personal. It was my mistake to give her my number. I'm aware of that. But now how do I handle this? Yep. Tell her you know what she's doing. Ask her to back off or you'll block her. Or just say all of that and block her anyway. Stop ignoring her texts. Tell her you are married and not interested in her. Rinse and repeat. When you are not telling her these things, She is assuming that you are okay with her behavior. Tell her you are not. Don't water it down so she can twist it into her fantasy. Do not feel or act embarrassed if you run into her. You did nothing wrong. She has done everything wrong. You need to spell it out to her that you are married and not interested in her and that what she's doing is inappropriate and harassment. Block her and move on. If she continues, report her to the building management or her landlord. You have a right to peaceful enjoyment of your property and deserve not to be harassed. If it continues, either report her for harassment or seek a restraining order against her, but hopefully it shouldn't come to that. Just be proactive in shutting her down and blocking her. ETA. Any communication with her should be written or recorded. If she phones you, don't answer. Keep screenshots of texts. Any in-person conversations. Whip out your phone and hit record. The fact she can't take a hint is worrying. Do what you need to protect yourself. Tell her that you have told your wife what she is doing and that you are happily married and not interested in her. Then block her and maybe get a Ring camera. She doesn't sound stable. She may not live in the building, come from the same city or work in the same industry. There might be a scam, robbery or something other brewing in that case. Any which way boundary pushing people needs to be shut down fast and hard. You asked for work-related help, but since you're blowing up my phone with private questions, instead you obviously don't need any help. Don't text me again. Yeah, I get a "want to rob you" vibe. Block her! Exclamation mark. Don't answer your door if it is her! Exclamation mark. This is not a you being oblivious problem. This is a her ignoring boundaries and social cues problem. You need to stamp that out by cutting contact. She might be trying to sleep with you. She might have delusions. She could be trying to set up to rob your apartment or grift money. Please read The Gift of Fear. Even the first chapter will be helpful, and it's here. https archive.nytimes.com/www.nytimes.com/books/b/beckerfear.html. Next time she texts you, answer, whatever your agenda is. I'm not interested. Just because we live in the same complex and work in the same field doesn't make us friends. Please stay out of my business and I'll stay out of yours. And that means lose this number. I do not for the life of me understand why someone would not immediately outright reject and block a person that is being inappropriate or threatening to their relationship, out of respect for their partner if nothing else. I'm incredibly introverted, but when this becomes obvious, I immediately insert the wall. Also tell her that if the messages don't stop, you will be letting the local police know of the unwelcome harassment. Tell her you have told your wife of what she's trying to do, and that you are no longer interested in speaking with her. Tell her you do not want to be friends, acquaintances with her, and to stop messaging, calling, speaking with you. Why can't you just block this number? There is an unstable element in your life. Get rid of it. It sounds more like a scammer than someone trying to sleep with you. The MLM people that accost you in stores like Target and such always try to establish a common ground and pull info from you. Did she offer her line of work first? Her place of origin? Or did she get it out of you and then say the same for her? They also like to ask about your family so they can break through on a personal level and become friends before starting up the scam or pitch. To give you an idea, years ago I was in Target picking up diapers. A guy happened to walk onto the same aisle, picked up some diapers, and I proceeded to go grab something to drink. Conveniently he did the same. Looked at me and said, "Haha. Great minds, right?" I gave him a "ha." Yep. I started toward the self-checkout and so did he. Then he asked how old my kids were. I blew that off and he shifted to asking about my line of work. As soon as I flagged it as an MLM pitch, I was already on my way out of the store and I let him know I wasn't interested in whatever he was trying to get me involved in. He told me about some friends of his that would love to invest in me. Lol. I told him we were done. He went back into the store to return the diapers and try to find a sucker. How forward and persistent she is. The method of approach and the similarities in industry and hometown seem too much like scam tactics. I'd be very clear that you're not interested in starting a friendship or relationship with this person. Block her and ignore her if you encounter her further. If she continues to approach you, I'd let her know loud and clear that you're not interested in talking to her. Maybe you said, "My wife, so much she thought you were Borat and is into banging celebrities." You've handled it mostly fine. Sorry bud. If you're attractive, you're going to get that attention. But ignoring this isn't how you do it. You shut down. Tell her you feel she's a little too attentive. It comes across as possibly interested. And you are a faithful husband. She will likely flip it and tell you you're overthinking it. You're an idiot. She's not the least bit interested. Whatever. Take the hit. Women who mess with married men are trashy like that. But you've kept your wife in the loop. You've made it clear you're married. Just keep rolling. Why have you not outright rejected her? Nothing is awkward. She's a stranger and you completely ignore her. You owe her no decency or need to consider her feelings. Block her and completely ignore her. Stop obsessing about meeting on the stairs. If you block her ahead, she would really have to be audacious to say any more than an embarrassed hi. If, as you fear, she demands to know why you blocked her, politely tell her she was getting too much. You regret giving her your number as she took it in the wrong way. Done. Move on. The act of giving your number is sometimes seen as an opening for friendship. Careful. Why haven't you blocked her? Why didn't you respond with, "You're being inappropriate so I'm blocking you now," when she first started? Do you secretly like the attention? Sounds like it. Block her, and when she asks you why, tell her she's being inappropriate. Who lets a woman text and call late at night when they know she's after sex? Just be upfront about it and tell her you're happily married while establishing boundaries. Either that or block her. And if you run into her, just be honest why.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.